Free agency has begun. Players have moved or players have not moved. And that means we can finally start digging into trade targets. Let's look at wide receivers first. The first guy on the list, if you watched, you know this isn't a new player, but it's Drake London, right? I understand. Drake London is a highly coveted asset, right? His ADP is sitting at wide receiver 14. The reason he is still a firm buy for me, I think he's going to end up significantly higher than wide receiver 14 this time next season. The usage is insane. Like, he has borderline top tier elite usage. There is a group of 7 wide receivers that have hit all 4 of these metrics. I'm going to tell you the metrics and I'll tell you the 7 wide receivers. A 27.5% target share, a 35% end zone target share, a 30% air yard share, which means, ball travels through the air, that's air yards, and then a 25% target rate. You hit all 4 of those, it is a very, very elite group of players. I am talking Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, which, as a Bears fan, love to see it, and then Drake London. So he did that as a rookie, and you heard that list of names. That is nothing but elite players. So the usage, the talent, all of it is spectacular. We care about production as well. And if we just look at what he did with Desmond Ridder, and I understand, we don't love to extrapolate on these small sample sizes. I'm going to do it anyways here just because I think it's a good indication. With Desmond Ridder, if he played 17 games, 153 targets, 98 receptions, 1,400 yards. The production will come with Drake London. Even if it's not 2023, he's too good to not be, a borderline elite wide receiver in the NFL. Here are some trades that have taken place, This is over on the DLF Trade Finder. Go check that out. A 107, 207, and a 2024 third. I'm taking that every day of the week. Kadarius Toney, 202 and 306. Yeah, that's the world's easiest accept. Wide receiver number 2, it is a Jaguars wide receiver, but it is not Calvin Ridley. I am talking Christian Kirk. Now, obviously, you guys know if you follow me on Twitter, I am a huge Calvin Ridley fan. But when you're looking for value, Christian Kirk is probably the better value for Dynasty, His ADP is at wide receiver 32. Now, that was before Calvin Ridley was reinstated. And in theory, should Calvin Ridley being reinstated actually affect his value? No, it shouldn't. But a lot of people weren't sure for whatever reason that Calvin Ridley would be back this season. So Christian Kirk will naturally fall because perception has changed. I'm going to scoop up that value because I don't know if we see a massive drop-off in what Christian Kirk does. If we look at where they line up, just on the field in general, who's going to be most affected? Christian Kirk lines up in the slot 52% of the time. The last time we saw Calvin Ridley, he was on the outside 87% of the time, or a 13% slot rate, which means Zay Jones is the one that's probably in trouble. Christian Kirk will still be, I think, very productive. Will he see identical usage? I don't know, because Calvin Ridley should command more. I think he's the better wide receiver. He is still going to be the go-to guy in the slot, and Calvin Ridley is going to win on the outside. They're going to operate different spaces of the field, which I think should negate some of the offset that people are projecting. And when you talk about price, to get in for Christian Kirk, it's not expensive. If you look at a Superflex league, he has been traded for Tannehill in the 310. Give me Christian Kirk over Ryan Tannehill any day of the week. In addition to that, he's also been traded for the 112 straight up. Personally, I think I lean the 112 here still, but again, he can get more expensive than Ryan Tannehill. And then on the flip side, 204 and 412. Yep, I'm back to taking Christian Kirk over the 204 and 412, especially if I need a wide receiver right now. Before we get to wide receiver 3, guys, if you like these videos, 1, subscribe, 2, like the video. Also, check out the YouTube memberships. You're going to get extra videos every single month from this channel that aren't out there for everybody to view. That means in videos like this, you're going to get extra trade targets. There's going to be 2 additional trade targets dropped on the YouTube membership page. So check that out, guys. Year-round, additional content, and I mean a lot of additional content. I think that's going to be the 8th video since January alone. So check that out, guys. The DLF YouTube membership. Wide receiver 3 now, and it is Rashod Bateman. I go back and forth on Rashod Bateman constantly because the offense is limiting for wide receivers, and he hasn't really shown out or earned a massive target share at this point in his career. And again, it's one season in 4 games. But When you dig a little bit further, right, specifically if we look at reception perception, Rashod Bateman as a rookie graded out very, very well. You're looking at a guy who was in the 74th percentile against man, the 85th percentile against zone, and the 81st percentile against press coverage. And again, this is from 2021 as a rookie. He's going to get better. It actually compares very comparably to our next wide receiver, DeVonta Smith, at least in his rookie season. So Rashod Bateman, as far as route running is concerned, he's good. It is just a fact. Let's go buy Rashod Bateman, right? At an ADP right now of wide receiver 39, it is very difficult to say I'm out, especially at that price. You're looking, right, last year, DeVonta Smith was in the wide receiver 35, 36 range. Rashod Bateman is here because of his situation, not because of his talent. It's basically the exact same argument. So when I'm looking, I understand the Lamar Jackson concerns. He may be gone. Things may be changing. But also on the flip side, Greg Roman is gone, who was just terrible for wide receivers. So it's going to be a new style offense, even if Lamar does come back. I think we're underrating Rashod Bateman at this point, right? If he was like wide receiver 20, I'm probably out. But as a wide receiver 4, it's very, very difficult to say I don't want a piece of Rashod Bateman. He's been traded for straight up the 209. Give me a chance on Rashod Bateman over a dart throw at the end of the second. He's also been traded for Miles Sanders, and he's also been traded for Courtland Sutton, an aging running back who's now on his second contract. Yep, give me Rashod Bateman over Miles Sanders. If you're win now, maybe it's a little bit different, but in a vacuum, I prefer Bateman. And then Courtland Sutton, we all know my opinion on Courtland Sutton. I will take the youth for a guy that's probably going to put up similar numbers, if not better, than Courtland Sutton, who just happens to be in a better situation right now. But I still think Bateman is the better player. Moving to our 4th wide receiver here, it is a guy, again, I already mentioned it. It is DeVonta Smith. And yeah, he's up to wide receiver 13 now, where last year I was touting him, and he was like wide receiver 35, 36. I'm still going to continue to buy into DeVonta Smith. And a lot of that has to do with, right, his reception perception profile. Now, 2022 data isn't out for him yet, so let's look at 2021. And like I said, it compares very comparably to Rashod Bateman. You're talking 77th percentile against man, 83rd percentile against zone, and then 84th percentile against press. He's a very good wide receiver, especially when it comes to route running. And it became very, very obvious in year 2. You're talking wide receiver 14 in points per game in PPR leagues as a sophomore alongside A.J. Brown. This is really a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins situation. Obviously, unfortunately, DeVonta Smith is the T. Higgins here. But the thing is, he can bring in an insane target share, right? His usage is spectacular. You're looking at a 27% target share, 29.9% air yard share. And those are the things I care about. He's seeing a lot of targets, and he's seeing targets down the field that are going to result in a lot of points. DeVonta Smith was fantastic. In the last week, he has been traded for Terry McLaurin and the 205. Give me DeVonta Smith over Terry McLaurin, who's never really done a whole lot to be considered like an elite asset. Give me DeVonta Smith. He was traded for a random 2024 first. I don't really understand this. Again, if you're rebuilding, get multiple assets. Breaking it down one piece, you're just hoping to draft DeVonta Smith with that 2024 first. That doesn't make any sense. And then this one here is probably still a smash for me. DeVonta Smith and the 209 for the 105 in a super flex. It may be pricey, but you're looking at JSN or Jahmyr Gibbs. Give me DeVonta Smith over both in a super flex league. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. Again, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe to the channel. If you have questions, comments, drop that stuff down below. If you want more trade targets, check out the DLF YouTube membership. We'll have 2 additional trade targets from this video on there in the next couple of days. So check that out, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.